Here is a claim that sounds like wild exaggeration, and is sober scientific fact. Somewhere between a third and a half of all the people alive on Earth today would simply not exist were it not for a single chemical reaction perfected just over 100 years ago. Their bodies are, quite literally, built from it. Stay with me, because by the end you will understand that impossible sounding sentence completely, and it may well include you. It begins with nitrogen. Your body is full of it. Every protein, all your DNA, needs nitrogen to be built. And here is the cruel paradox. The air around you is nearly 80% nitrogen gas. You are swimming in it, yet you cannot use a single breath of it. The nitrogen in the air is locked in a form so stable, so tightly bound, that plants and animals simply cannot pry it apart to use. For all of history, life got its usable nitrogen only in tiny trickles from lightning and from a few special bacteria that could crack those air molecules apart. This meant farmland could only grow so much. The amount of usable nitrogen in the soil was a hard ceiling on how much food could be grown, and therefore on how many people could be fed. Humanity was, quietly, capped by nitrogen. Then, in the early years of the 20th century, a German chemist named Fritz Haber cracked it. He found a way to force the nitrogen in ordinary air to combine with hydrogen under crushing heat and pressure to make ammonia, the raw material of fertilizer. For the first time, humans could reach up into the atmosphere and pull down endless usable nitrogen out of thin air. And an engineer, Carl Bosch, turned it into an industrial process that could run at colossal scale. And the effect on the human population is almost impossible to overstate. With cheap, near limitless fertilizer, crop yields exploded. Land that had fed a village could suddenly feed a town. The number of people the earth could sustain leapt upward, and the global population, which had crept along for millennia, began its steep climb toward 8 billion. Roughly half of us are fed by food grown with this synthetic nitrogen. Which leads to the strange, literal truth I promised. The nitrogen in your muscles, in your DNA, in the food you ate today was, for a great many of us, pulled from the air in a factory. The atoms building your body did not all come from the soil in the old natural way. A large share were wrenched out of the sky by this reaction. In the most physical sense possible, a good part of you is made from processed air. And I find this both wondrous and sobering. It is arguably the most important invention almost no one has heard of. No technology has done more to increase the sheer number of living humans. Yet it is utterly invisible, a reaction inside a chemical plant that quietly underwrites the existence of billions of people who will never know its name, or the name of the man who found it. Now, you would expect the man who fed half the world to be a straightforward hero. He was not. That very same Fritz Haber also pioneered chemical weapons for Germany in the First World War, personally overseeing the first large-scale poison gas attacks. The mind that pulled life-giving nitrogen from the air also pulled death from it. One of history's greatest life-givers was, at the very same time, a father of chemical warfare. And the reaction that feeds us casts a second shadow. Making all that nitrogen takes staggering amounts of energy, consuming a notable slice of the world's total energy use, and the runoff of excess fertilizer now chokes rivers and coastlines with algae. We are utterly dependent on a process that both sustains billions and quietly strains the planet. We cannot simply stop. Far too many lives now hang on it. Which is the quiet, double-edged truth at the root of the modern world. We broke through the ancient ceiling that had always limited human numbers by learning to harvest the air itself. It let our population soar, and it bound us forever to a hungry, polluting reaction we can no longer live without. We bought our multitudes from the sky, and the bill is still coming due. So, the impossible sentence from the start, now made plain, a single reaction, a century old, lets us pull endless nitrogen from the air to grow our food and so build our very bodies. Half the people alive are, in the most literal sense, made from nitrogen pulled out of thin air by a 100-year-old reaction that almost no one has ever heard of.